Welcome to Three Strikes Podcast. This is Joe Ferrari, my buddy Phil Delan. Phil, how's it going?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Good. Great, grand. No yelling on the bus. Let's start off with the Toronto Blue Jays and the Texas Rangers brawl.
Yes.
Some suspensions were handed out. Batista got one. Not really sure why he got any. Odor got 8. Jesse Chavez got 3. Gibby got 1.
Yeah, Gibby got, I think he got 1 or 2 for coming back on the field after he'd already been tossed. Not surprising. I don't know. I don't know. I guess Bautista got 1 because of the slide.
But last year that slide's legal. I know it's not this year, but
no. And there was a lot of people arguing that Odor tried to throw at Bautista's head as he slid in, and I didn't notice it until I saw the replay.
Went into like submarine mode.
Yeah, he really dipped the shoulder down. I've not seen a lot of his throws to first to see if that's normal, but it certainly looked.
He did his best Darren with the impression. Let's just say that.
Yes. What did you make of the slide? Not the slide, but the whole situation.
What I first thought was that Matt Bush should be in jail.
He was.
He was, but he's not anymore. Not really sure why. I think they called him up for that reason. Obviously, I think that Texas had this planned out.
Yeah.
This was orchestrated and produced to it was a Spielberg production. Let's be honest.
It was well written.
Like Batista said, they waited till the last at bat.
Last game. They're not going to see each other the rest of the season. Yeah. It was their final series. I'm surprised. I thought it should have been done, if done at all, first game in Texas, because I think they played already in Toronto
first. Yeah.
So that's fine. You're not going to throw at them in Toronto. You know, you kind of want the home field advantage, I guess, for that. But why wait until the last game?
It's cowardly too, right? Like, that's what I was thinking, because you do that and you don't have to see them again, right? Whereas maybe you go to the next game. I think it was late in the game as well, right? I want to say it was like the 7th or 8th inning.
Well, yeah, it would have been at least the 8th, I think.
But let's say it's not even the last game, or there's another at bat for Texas, because Texas, I'm pretty sure, was winning that game, didn't have to go at bat again.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to get maybe Osuna coming in throwing 98 at your head or something, right?
Yeah.
And then things just get out of hand.
Yeah, well, that's why Chavez got the suspension, because the next, I think it was the top of, would have been the bottom of the 8th.
That's right, because
Fielder came up and Chavez hit Fielder in the leg. Yeah.
Which was kind of petty, right? Like when you throw at someone, throw it at least their shoulder or something, right?
Yeah.
Not the head. But...
No, Fielder's got big enough legs.
It was like shooting a pig with a pellet gun or something.
Yeah,
right? Like, it's not going through.
No, he laughed it off. And the first thing Martin did was take his mask and his glove off, like he was ready to fight. But
anything to save that hitless streak, right?
Jeez.
Yeah, but Jay's sitting at 19 and 23, 6.5 games back of Boston and Baltimore not tied. Doesn't look good. We've been talking about this for a while. The Jays' hitting hasn't really picked up.
No.
And who's leading off today?
Jose Bautista, first time since 2010. And I would thought that maybe that final game in Texas could have been a rallying point. You know, the team, Donaldson came out, Pilar came out, everybody kind of rallied together. Maybe this would be it. Then they get spanked 11-2 against the Rays. And they got lit up that whole series. They were out hit, I think, in that series 44-19.
And that's all I was hearing from Toronto media and even all kinds of guys that would be on Toronto media. Sure, they're coming in, they're saying, maybe this is it, the thing that really gets Toronto turned around and puts them on the pace that they were at last year. Mm-hmm. And like you said, you went to, I think it was the second game you went to, the Archer start?
Yes, Archer Stroman.
And if that can't really rally a team, I don't know what can. And let's be honest here, like baseball is not like hockey or basketball or football where, hustle by trying harder, we'll get better results.
Right.
That's not how it works.
No.
But at some point, when you said we are 42 games into the season now, going into a Minnesota series, which they need to, it's dumb to say they need to sweep, but they definitely need to win the series.
Yeah, and it should be their series. Like, it's really their series to lose. Minnesota, I don't know where they're sitting in the Central, but they're not,
they're not doing well.
No, they're not. And they were kind of a fringe team last year.
Exceeded expectations.
They absolutely did. Their manager, I can't remember his name off the top of my head now, Paul Molitor. Molitor did, he did great with the team last year with what he was given, and he was certainly a candidate for manager of the year, absolutely. But I think this year
they've definitely taken a step back.
They have, yeah. I know they signed Bung Ho Park to a big deal coming in overseas, and I know he's got some power. The average isn't quite there yet. He's splitting time at first base and DH with Joe Mauer. But overall,
worst contract in baseball, by the way.
Joe Mauer, yeah, one of them. You could probably argue for a couple more. Jason Hayward could be another one. But we'll get to him later.
We need to get to him for sure.
Yes. So it is. It's a series they need to win, if not sweep. And for the first time, sort of all season, the starting rotation finally looked like they take him a step
Rotation's
back.
been, yeah.
Rotations really exceeded expectations. You didn't really expect Jay Happ to pitch to a 2.5, almost 3 ERA. He's more of a 3.5 ERA kind of guy, but he pitched phenomenally since last season with Pittsburgh. I think he won 10 straight decisions.
If there was a second half Cy Young, he'd probably get it.
Probably. He was 9-1 down the stretch with them.
He was dominant.
He was great, and Sanchez had been pitching really well. Stroman had really been the only one that was inconsistent.
Yeah, and he's their ace, and he's been the guy that's been kind of mediocre, or just above mediocre, right?
Exactly.
Obviously, Dickey.
Dickey's Dickey. I thought he pitched. I mean, of the 3 starts, he obviously pitched the best. But he gave up the home runs, which is to be expected with Dickey and a knuckleball pitcher in that park. So now it's a case of okay, now they gotta get back on track. I think I'm not sure who's pitching tonight. I think it's Estrada.
It's Estrada against Irvin Santana.
Yeah, so Irvin Santana, another guy
He's
who
put it together a decent season so far.
after his PED suspension last year was kind of well, what kind of a pitcher are we going to see out of him for the Twins? And he came back and pitched great down the stretch. So it's going to be a good matchup, but their bats got to come to life.
They do, and
do you think putting Jose Bautista lead off is the right decision?
I'm not against anything at this point in the season because they've just struggled so much. And then I've heard today, I think it was someone on the Blair show, it was the guest host that he always has. I can't remember his name, anyways. And he was saying, "Oh no, don't give me that Revere stuff." And you can't honestly sit here, look me in the eye, and tell me that if Ben Revere is not on this team and he's healthy, he's not making this team better. Because we've gone over this everywhere he goes, he hits.
Yes.
And credit to Michael Saunders.
Yes.
I didn't expect much from this year, especially coming off that injury.
Yeah.
He's been great. Probably their best hitter, arguably. I think he has been, not statistically, he's been their best hitter.
I think he's been their best hitter all season, and of the guys in the lineup, he seems to be the best suited leadoff guy on the team. They don't have that true.
They don't have one.
They don't have that true leadoff guy, and we're going to circle back to it all year because I understood the Revere Storen trade when it happened, and I'm going to keep saying that I get it. They got a good reliever at the time, so we thought for a leadoff hitter that they just didn't think they needed. But I didn't like the trade because I like Revere. This guy always hits over 300. He's led the league in hits or close to for 2 or 3 of the past seasons with the Phillies and then last year even when he split time with the Phillies and the Jays. He's got speed, and Storen hasn't panned out. So it's obviously a trade that it arguably hasn't worked out for the Nationals either because he missed time with the oblique injury, which is fine. You can make that argument. But Saunders has been a great surprise. This is the guy that they thought they were getting when they originally traded for Jay. They actually traded Jay Happ to the Mariners for him. So this is the guy that they...
One of those rare times you get both guys back in the trade. The guy signs a free agent.
Exactly. So it works out in the end that you kind of get both of them on your team, and he's worked out really well. I understand he's in a contract year, so I don't know if that plays into it or not.
We'll take it at this point. Right?
At this point, sure.
He's contract year.
He's hitting over 300. He's got power, so why not go with him?
A couple of quick things I was gonna say. Do you think that maybe the Jays felt pressured with the moves that the Yankees and the Red Sox made because they went in, they got all that bullpen help, and the Jays maybe were forced, they said, and bad talent evaluation, I was going to say, just in the sense where, and Bob McCown said this, I heard on the radio, saying, do you think that maybe at this point you're starting to think of, okay, maybe this team is what it is, it's not just a bad start anymore, right?
Yeah, they are a 500 team.
And, or close, yeah, not
close
even at this point,
yeah.
right? But yeah, the talent suggests otherwise, but they went on that incredible second half run.
Mm-hmm.
And you think that some of that was just they got hot at the right time, and that maybe the team, whether it be Anthopoulos or the current regime, was just thinking, hey, you know what? Like, we have the hitters to sustain this run that we've gone on.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, on paper, Encarnacion, Batista, Tulowitzki is another guy.
Yeah.
I think that he's done. Towards the end of last year, I was kind of leaning to it. People would kind of question it. They'd say, oh, it's too early to say that. He's still adjusting and all of that. But he doesn't look like the same guy that played.
He's going to strike out 300 times this year. He's waving at stuff way out of the zone.
Like, he looks like Mark Reynolds.
He looks, you're right, he does.
Minus the power.
That's not good. No, he doesn't even have the power. And you're right. You can only make the argument that he's still settling into a new team for so long.
It's done. Like, that's
it's
done
over.
Now.
That was last season.
The warm welcome's done.
It's well past.
His tears for Colorado trading him also need to be dried, right? I think that he's kind of settled into that.
I think he's done with that.
And like I forget who it was. Someone else saying this too. If you want, because he's great defensively, and we know that. If you want a great defensive shortstop that can't hit, you're going to get Ryan Goins. Who's going to save you $25 million on that deal, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons they didn't go after a lot of free agents, because guys like Tulo are making so much money. So honestly, if Tulo's not hitting for you, what's he really giving you that maybe Ryan Goins isn't? maybe a little bit of, maybe he makes a couple plays, and even at that,
But
like,
that only comes down to experience,
honestly,
which
right?
Goins is gonna,
Yeah,
which is
Goins
Goins
is
is
a younger guy.
come into anyways. And I know they have Jimmy Paredes
Paredes, who I'm a huge fan of.
playing second base tonight. Goins gets the night off, so we'll see how he does, and that might be a direction that they lean toward. I don't know if they could move Tulowitzki if it comes to it at the deadline. I don't know how many teams would be.
I don't think
interested in
anybody's
him.
thinking that deal.
No, not with that
And,
money.
if he hits any better, the Jays just keep him. So I don't see
Yeah.
that really happening. But yeah, Paredes has been great. I like him a lot. I was thinking too, even I know that Smoke's defense is really good, but if the team continues to struggle hitting, maybe what you do is you bring in Encarnacion to first base and you DH Paredes.
It's possible.
Because we were even talking before the show about Valencia, another guy who they let get away, who
Yeah.
would be great right now.
He would
right?
be fantastic.
I'm not really sure who they kept because I know they couldn't send. They put someone on the. Someone had to come back up and he had to clear waivers for Valencia, which everybody knew he wasn't going to clear
No,
waivers.
Oakland ended up picking him up,
And he had 3 home runs on the weekend in one game.
Yeah, so he's a versatile guy. He came up as a third baseman with the Royals, I believe.
Yeah, kind of the Twins.
The Twins, sorry,
And
yeah.
he's a platoon guy, but we
Yeah.
saw last year he was hitting. These are righties. He was a righty.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would just play against lefties, but he
Yeah.
was hitting righties pretty good last year too.
Yeah. He was like their modern Adam Lynn.
Yeah.
Because I know Adam Lynn had the same issue.
Yeah.
They would only hit him against righties or lefties, I think. So I don't know I don't know if there is a right answer. At this point, we're 40 games in. At some point, you got to stop saying, it's still early. Does any of this come back to Gibbons? Is Gibbons on the hot seat?
I think he is, and it's not because a lot of people. I think that in baseball, a manager more than any other sport has the least effect on your team. Like, there's not much you can do. A hit and run, you can call some pitches, but to be honest, baseball I think is the one where your coach matters the least.
Mm-hmm.
And how managers are typically judged is how they manage the bullpen.
I agree.
And their starting pitchers,
Yeah.
innings, and he's done a great job of that. Like everybody said, he's done a great job.
Yeah. And everybody says he's a player's man.
Yeah, it's like clubhouse. You go in your golf
Yeah.
clubhouse, hey, how's it going? This
Yeah.
and that. Everybody's buddy.
Yeah.
And at what point you kind of say, hey, you know what? Even though in other sports you can say we need to find a better coach than he is. You might not be able to find a better manager because I don't know really what constitutes as a better manager in baseball, right? But at some point you can't trade your whole team, so you maybe just get a new face in there to do it. But like, you can't bring in a drill sergeant who's going to tell everybody, hey, Tulo, you need to hit better.
Or you turn
Because
into Bobby Valentine, and you end up with that Red Sox clubhouse from a few years ago that was just an absolute mess.
Yeah, beer and chicken.
Yeah.
This isn't a ludicrous album.
No,
It's not. Josh Beckett. Remember those good old days. Speaking of Josh Beckett, I want to talk about Stroman for a bit, who we talked about. He
Yes.
controls emotions on the field.
Yes.
Great pitcher, talented guy.
Yes. All the talent in the world.
Needs to get his act together in the sense of the emotions
Dial
on
it
the
back.
mound.
Yeah, dial it
Right?
back a little. And when this goes back to our point about, we talked sort of before we came on here about guys' attitude and pimping home runs. What's the
Yes.
difference between guys bat flipping and a pitcher like Stroman fist pumping off the mound after getting out of a big situation?
Yeah, we did talk about. That's what I was saying because who was the other guy we brought up?
Wasn't it Beckett?
Yeah, it was Beckett at first. It was
Yeah.
an absolute psychopath. One of my favorite pitchers. The reason that I'm a Marlins fan, by the way, was Josh Beckett
Yeah.
and Dontrell Willis. But yeah,
No,
he was
not AJ
pretty
Burnett.
crazy. AJ was. I think he had Tommy John the year they won
That he did.
the World Series.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stroman, I just feel like he needs to calm down a bit because he's on the mound and his emotions take over in a negative sense.
Yes.
He'll get in a bit of a jam and he
Like
gets
a
all
rattle.
pissed off and you can see him talking to himself
Yeah.
on the mound.
Yeah.
Not
And
even-
guys always think that he's talking to them, and it's caused some.
Yeah, then he'll put the glove in front of the face and
Yeah.
start cursing at himself and everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he needs to do, but he's got to do something to control that because it hasn't been beneficial for him so far.
And I told you this before we came on here that when I was at the game the other night when he was pitching, it might have been that the Rays had something on him, or if they were trying to get under his skin. There were a lot of hit and runs. There were at least 5 where the pitcher was where the runner was moving off the pitch, and a couple times they ended up going first to third because of it. But they were running, and I don't know if that's Tampa Bay's system. I apologize for not knowing if that's
They do,
how they
yeah.
do. I know
They try
they're
to
an
a lot of ways
aggressive
do hit and
team.
run and everything.
Yeah.
Manufacturer.
Exactly, but they were doing it an awful lot. I don't know, like I say, if they had something on him or if they're just trying to get him rattled, but it worked. He did not have a very good outing.
And when your team is struggling to score runs as they are, giving up those extra bases, whether it be going first or third or
Yeah.
steals or whatever it is really going to come back to haunt you. And with the bullpen issues they've had too. Staying with the whole pimping of the home runs and everything, 2 things I want to talk about that are kind of connected.
Sure.
First, I want to go back to that Texas and Toronto series.
Mm-hmm.
And even Michael Thompson, ex-NBA player, Klay Thompson's dad, does a podcast with Mike Trudell, and I heard them talk about this too. And what he was saying was, at what point do you let it go?
Yeah.
He said it's been 6 months, I think, since
Yeah.
that home run, infamous bat flip, which was incredible. I watch it, and every time I look at it, I think more and more like
It was amazing.
he got it right. Jose,
Oh yeah.
Jose got that right.
Yeah.
But
But Sam
like
Dyson
you
was not
I
impressed.
mean, he wasn't. But don't give up the home run. Then that's the other thing, right? Don't give up the home run because, like you said, we talked about before. You strike out a guy with the bases. Let's say you come on bases loaded, and you inherit these runners. Pitcher comes out of the bullpen. You strike out the guy. You're fired up.
What
Right?
if Dyson had struck out Bautista?
Yeah, and
Same
fist pump
situation.
did a cartwheel off the mound or
Yeah.
something.
Do they throw? Do they? I mean, they can't
Exactly.
really retaliate
What are you
against
gonna do?
Dyson.
You're gonna
but-
just charge the mound after
Yeah.
you strike out? Like I don't.
No. He's gonna throw his helmet.
Yeah.
across
So why is it
garbage,
okay
but-
for one side and not the other? That's what I don't
Yeah,
get.
I don't understand why. That's the old school versus new school. You know, certain things you just don't do. But the
And-
argument still doesn't work because you're still pimping a strikeout essentially.
It wasn't like Batista looked at the pitcher, made eye contact, and flipped
No.
the bat as he was doing it.
Be a different story. I've seen bat flips like that.
That's different, I feel.
Yeah,
Right.
it
Like
is.
if you're having kind of a 1v1 kind of battle with
Yeah.
someone and it becomes heated, that's different. You want to charge them out and do your thing.
And
But
this wasn't just a regular, big
Exactly.
home run. That inning was an
that's what I was
absolute
gonna say.
mess.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a unique inning from Martin hitting Chu on the bat to allowing the run to score, and then all the errors in the bottom half of that inning to allow guys to get on base. Like the Rangers had what 5 outs, 5 or 6 outs at least, and they just couldn't put them away. They made 3 errors. Right? Beltre throwing to third, Andrews
Which
made a
never
couple.
happens. Yeah.
Odor misplayed a bloop shot up the middle. Like it was such a mess of an inning, and then Jose happens to hit that home run that there was just so much emotion built into it that
I
you
feel
know,
like
I understand the Rangers took exception to it and it cost them the division series. I understand that, but you're right. At what point do you just say
enough's enough. Let's
Enough's
move on
enough.
with
Yeah,
life. Yeah,
exactly.
You can do like 3 years down. Like, but he's not going to be there next year probably. Right?
No.
What are you going to do?
No.
You're going to go to the Yankees and then you throw at him then? I don't. It's too much. What I wanted to get at with that whole point though, really quickly, was that inning was huge. But I feel like Jose has the thing with the umpires, and he's just been through a lot of whatever with the Jays and contract stuff, calling up the GM at the deadline a couple of years. He's gone through a lot with the team, and I feel like, and with Toronto, the whole. If you live in Toronto, you know this. The culture of losing that's kind of
built into
built
it
up
now?
to these fans. You have this kind of tolerance to losing now, right? Where just so with all that combined and all the teams losing and that negative mindset in the city, just with us accepting losing, that I think also played into the thing of the bat flip. It was just like we're over this hurdle, not even just in this game in this inning as a city, because you knew the game was over, right?
Yeah, that was
you
it.
throw it and you're like, you take a deep breath, like we did it, and you just throw the bat.
Because for most fans in Toronto, when Martin hit Chu, and Odor
You're
scored,
like, oh, here we go again.
How many
That's the
people in
first thing.
Toronto said they're going to lose because of this?
Yeah.
This is a Toronto way to lose a game.
Exactly, like the Leafs and the Bruins a couple of years ago, right? Like that clash.
3-goal lead fell apart.
The Raptors getting swept last year, where they had at least thoughts of winning the first round. They just year after year, there's all kinds of stuff that happens.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So with Harper saying, you hate. Harper's another guy's gonna take a lot of heat because he's the young hot shot, but he's backing up his play, and you can't hate on the guy for saying let's make baseball funny. It sounds like a kid saying it, but it's true.
It's true, absolutely.
It's not the no fun league in the NFL where you get a touchdown, you have to hand the ball to the ref.
Can't
here
sign
you
the
go,
ball
can't
anymore.
do anything.
No,
Like,
can't goof around.
at the end of the day, it is entertainment. And
It
whether it be
is.
basketball with the Showtime Lakers or baseball with pimping a home run, the fans are there for the entertainment value.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to go see, unless you're a baseball enthusiast, like a 1-0 game with whatever. You're there for entertainment.
Sure.
And I think that's why a lot of people want to see that kind of stuff. Because when Bryce Harper, pimps a home run and gets the crowd goes crazy. Batista,
nuts.
nobody's gonna forget that.
When Mike Trout robs somebody of a home run over the center field wall and gives a big fist pump,
And they jump into each other, chest bumping.
Oh,
like,
Angels fans love
Exactly.
that stuff. And why not? I mean, they're some of the best players in the game, and they get pumped up, and the fans get pumped up. So let them have
You
it.
can't blame them. Let's have some fun, right? It's baseball.
Exactly.
Moving to the NL really quick. With the standings in the East, Washington, Philly, the Mets. Washington and Philly have almost the identical record. Who would have thought that?
Can you say that again?
Yeah.
Washington,
24 and
Philly?
16 are the Nats.
Yeah.
24 and 17 Philly. So Philly's half a game back.
Oh my goodness.
Which they're essentially a
Weren't
minor
they
league
supposed to be
team, right?
rebuilding?
Oh yeah.
Isn't this a rebuilding year for them?
Andrew Noel's been great for them.
Yes.
He's got that breaking pitch that just looks phenomenal. Guy, it looks like a frisbee. You throw it and there's
So their center fielder Herrera, we talked about.
he's been on a tear.
He's been incredible. He's hitting over 300.
Freddie Galvis looks pretty good.
Galvis is another guy. This is a team that's supposed to be rebuilding, and maybe that's what it is. They could be the Minnesota Twins of the National League, right? Supposed to do this, and yet they're doing this other thing.
Or the Astros last year.
Or the Astros last year, same thing. The Astros were supposedly 2 or 3 years away, and maybe exceeded expectations, as we've kind of seen this year. I like the Phillies. I still like the Nationals to win the division. I just think there's just way too much talent.
And we
in that
can't
team.
forget about the Mets either. The Mets just 1.5
No, that's
years back
true.
there, right, with
Yeah.
that rotation that we both love.
Well, I love the rotation. I wish Matt Harvey was pitching a little better, but
He's going tonight against
as
Strasburg.
He is, which
it's
can
a
be
big series.
Yes, it's going to be a huge game too. Strasburg and Harvey. I mean,
Fresh off that $180 million deal, I think it was.
yes, it was. Yeah, and two guys who have had arm injuries in the past that have kind of bounced back, and both guys that have fought the pitch/innings limit every season they come off of injury. I really like Matt Harvey, and I'm selfish because I have him on my fantasy team, so I can't not.
You're a selfish guy.
I am a very selfish guy, but they've got Syndergaard who's pitching amazingly and hitting home runs apparently.
You know what really grinds my gears? It's time to do that segment.
Oh no! Okay, here we go. Let's hear about
Me and
it.
Phil both do a couple pro line during the week. Phil
Yep.
won a couple weeks ago. I think I won last week.
Yep.
So I had just a 3-game ticket, and the last game I had the Mets to win, and I had the Astros under 6.5. Syndergaard, of course, pitches a gem. He had I think he went 8 innings, gave up 0 runs, 10 Ks. Typical Syndergaard start.
Yeah.
And it was against, I want to say it was against Scherzer. Don't really remember who was. No, I don't know. Anyways, Gio Gonzalez, I think. Important story. I'm getting heated right now. I checked the next day. 6.5 was the line. I took the under. I'm going to 7. It was I want to say it was a 5-2 game. Syndergaard hits 2 bombs. Okay. Syndergaard, stick to throwing 99 and striking yourself out at the plate. Okay. We got money on the line right now, my boy Phil and me. And you know what else really grinds my gears right
there
now?
was another one.
I know that you're a Cubs fan.
I do.
But
Like
you're
the Cubs.
rooting for the Cubs this year.
I'm rooting
Because
for the Cubs.
They're a great team, right?
I really like Addison Russell, and who can't like Chris Bryant?
I'm not an Addison Russell fan, but
I
we'll
know.
talk about that another day. So we got the Cubs. They playing the Brewers, right?
Sure.
Jason Hamill just been on a ridiculous streak as usual. The first quarter of the season, he's
Great.
always pretty good.
Yep. Brewers decided to sit Lucroy and Braun.
Yeah, so I see Lucroy and Braun sat. Actually, I saw. At first, I saw Lucroy was sitting.
Mhm.
Did my ticket, whatever. It was like a $2 ticket, so I didn't really care. Point of the story. So you got the Cubs going against Milwaukee, and I'm like, Milwaukee calls up this AAA pitcher. He's like a 31-year-old pitcher. I'm like, I got this in the bag, right? No. Every time I go against the Cubs, their win streak's gonna end. It's gonna end. They just blow teams out. Today, what happened with the half-ass lineup from the Brewers? 4-2. I'm done. Done with the Cubs. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to win the World Series anyway.
Sure they are.
We're on the record right now. Cubs win the World Series. I think that
They've got.
they're not playing the Jays. We know that much.
No, that's fine.
That's for sure.
That's okay. They have everybody in place to win. Joe Madden, another
Rizzo, Bryant.
You want to talk about a manager players love? Joe Madden's that guy. Loved in Tampa Bay. The Cubbies love him. Jake Arrieta pitching out of his mind.
Second best pitcher alive.
Right next to
Kershaw.
Yeah. And even with Jason Hayward struggles, he's hitting 230 on the season.
Oh, he's hitting the same as his contract, which is pretty funny.
Isn't that? Yeah, and it's not a
Not good.
No,
Not good.
not good at all. They didn't pay him $400 million, although they might have.
In Canadian, it's
Different. Yeah, there's the conversion. It's different. But Rizzo, I know defensively, Russell brings more to the table than he does offensively. I think he's hitting in 230, 240,
240
like
for
about
sure.
there. Chris Bryant's another guy, infield, outfield, but has a phenomenal stick. So they have everything they need to contend and to win, and it really looks like this could be their year. I mean, they're off to such a good start, and that division, last year was a 3-team race. It was the Cubs, the Cards, and the Pirates. This year,
St. Louis took a seat back.
it might just be a 2-team race. It might just be the
And
Pirates.
the Pirates
and
are
the
there,
Cubs.
and like we said, I think the Pirates have 21 wins, and the Cubs have a 7-game lead on them. And we're 40 games, and they have a 7-game lead on a team that already has
That's
22 wins, I believe.
huge, huge.
Pirates are no joke.
No, the Pirates aren't either, and it's crazy because the Pirates could win 95 games and end up with a wild card.
It's funny, I saw a tweet last week, don't remember who it was, but they said something like, I wonder who the Pirates are going to start this year in their play-in game as they lose. They got a series, I don't know if it was last year or the year before they ended up winning the game, but they haven't been able to win a series yet.
No.
And it just seems like it's just a matter of time. We got Garrett Cole there who's going, Liriano's hasn't been as good this year.
No, but
No,
I
he's
think
going
he
to
can
come
turn
back,
it around.
right?
Sure
But
he
yeah,
will.
their lineup, I always say, is one of the best, at least for average, one of the best hitting lineups I feel in baseball. They're
Especially
pretty
the
consistent. Yeah, the
With
outfield we talk about a
McCutcheon,
lot.
Marte, and Polanco.
Yeah.
Plus they've got speed.
Even their infield.
First baseman, Jaso.
Yeah, coming from Tampa, the catcher turned first base was
Yeah.
really solid. Yeah.
And those dreadlocks.
Jordy Mercer they got.
Mercer,
Sure.
another guy, yeah. I know David Freese is playing some time at third base, and he's playing great
Yep.
while he's there. Cervelli, they just signed him to a
Cervelli,
contract
arguably
extension.
the best catcher in baseball.
Yeah, they signed him to a contract extension. He's the guy that I'm happy for because he spent so much time as a backup
Remember him
to
at the Yankees too, but to Russell Martin.
Russell Martin, and I believe he backed up
Maybe.
Martin
Maybe
his
the
last
Yankees,
year, and might have been with the Yankees as well.
Oh wow.
So this, so it's a nice turnaround
Reward
for him.
for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So and he works really well with that pitching staff, which is
He
another
does.
good.
Very similar to Russell Martin.
Exactly. It's an intangible that you can't really measure in terms of statistics, but if the pitchers like the catcher that they're working with, that goes a long way.
Really quickly as we wrap this up, best pitcher on the planet. I went to go see him when he was here in Toronto. I couldn't miss it because how often the Dodgers come here. 3 years ago was the last time I caught all 3 games. This year was Mother's Day was a Sunday.
And not only that, but to
Yeah,
have it lined up
that
that
one.
not just that they're here, but for it to fall on a Kershaw.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
So something I ate on Friday looks solid. And yeah,
Out of
Kershaw looked great. And I was saying, I tweeted this too when the game was there. So right now he's 70 innings, 6-1 record, 167 ERA. The guy's been just unhittable pretty much. First pitcher since 1900. Tim Kurkjian said this his 5 consecutive games with 10 Ks and 1 or fewer walks. I think pretty sure he said 84 strikeouts and 3 walks. No pitcher's ever done that before in baseball. And I feel like we are definitely witnessing greatness right now with Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
This is entering his 6th year right now. I'm pretty sure he has 2 Cy Youngs, a 2nd place finish, a 3rd place finish.
He's got 3 Cy Youngs.
3 Cy. It's been
in 5 years. He's got 3 Cy Youngs, a 2nd place, and a 3rd place finish.
And last year was Arrieta, who went on literally something for the record books. That second half.
Last year he was 3rd to Greinke and Arrieta, and both of them had
just storybook seasons.
Ridiculous years. And Greinke's not going to repeat that this year. He's already not off to the start he needed to be. It's going to come down to Kershaw and Arrieta again, and
maybe Bumgarner throws himself in there too.
He might. I mean, Bumgarner's a guy you can never really count out just because he's another guy that's always been in the discussion for it. But Kershaw's curveball this year is on a whole other level. It's insane, and the strikeout to walk ratio
is 4-1.
It's ridiculous.
It was at 3-1 for him, but now I'm pretty sure
44-8 or something.
At least at 3-1.
That's ridiculous. Nobody can touch that curveball.
Like if you have a 4-1 or sorry a 3-1 strikeout to walk ratio, you're doing pretty solid. Right.
Anything above that is otherworldly, and he could pitch the Dodgers into he's going to get them into the World Series, championship series likely. I don't know if it'll come down to them and the Cubs, but
I feel like now that we bring up, I just feel like the Dodgers they choke every year in the playoffs, and it's too bad. They have a lot of guys in their starting pitching, and also in their lineup that are on the DL will be coming off. They got Ethier, Van Slyke.
Yeah.
They picked up Trace Thompson in that deal. Clay Thompson's brother from Chicago, which was I feel like he's really talented. He's got a lot of power, but there's just too many outfielders. They still have Carl Crawford, Jock Peterson. Like there's just. They have 2 outfields.
They have a lot of swing and miss outfielders. Like Peterson's a guy that's going to strike out a lot. Yeah, he's likely going to hit 25, maybe 30 home runs, but he's going to strike out a lot and won't hit for average. They got Howie Kendrick still there.
Kendrick's having a down year.
He's having that, and I know he struggled with injuries in the past as well.
Gonzalez their best hitter. Turner's had a decent.
Turner's a guy I really like. I like Justin Turner. He's a guy that's gonna he's a consistent guy for them at least. So I don't know if it's going to be enough because you end up looking at, if the pitching becomes a wash against the Cubs, it goes to the offense, and the Cubs have a better offense. And you're right, the Dodgers. I mean, you could argue the Cubs choke in the playoffs too, but when have they been there consistently?
Yeah.
Up until recently.
Steve Bartman, that's the last time they were there.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up. We're going to keep you guys posted on the Jays because, like we said, I feel like the axe is going to come down on Gibby pretty soon.
Yeah, I think so.
If they keep this up, like the Minnesota series might save him, but Minnesota is probably, next to the Braves, the worst team in baseball.
Well, he's not managing right now. DeMarlo Hale is.
Oh, that's right.
He's suspended.
Suspension, yeah. Maybe this is the last game we see. Maybe Gibby's done. who knows, right?
They just hand it to DeMarlo.
Well, maybe the Twins sweep them. Like, who knows what's gonna happen? Right? They just got swept by Tampa.
That's true.
Maybe we hope for Gibby. We hope he stays around. We want the Jays to turn it around. You would think it's just a matter of time before they turn everything around, but it's tough. And the city, you know, there's a lot of people I know, a couple of buddies that bought season tickets, buying into the hype of last year. And
Just gonna say this now though. Shapiro likes his Cleveland guys. Francona's a free agent next year. Maybe Toronto looks for a new manager in Terry Francona.
not bad. He's got a couple titles, a couple World Series.
He's done well with the Indians.
You know who else would be nice? Would be nice for you now? Danny Salazar. On that note, for 3 strikes, Joe Verfari fills the land. We'll catch you guys next week. Take care.